world for all the night. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we gotta learn to live together. Peace, 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 peace. Alright. Isn't it time, brother, stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. With one hurt, with one need, we gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, peace. Alright. Round the world for all the night.
Okay, here we go again.
Round the world for all the night. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we gotta learn to live together. Peace, 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 peace. Alright. Isn't it time, brother, stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. With one hurt, with one need, we gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, peace. Alright, peace, together. Peace.
How's everyone out there doing today and yesterday? We're getting close to Christmas. That's why I'm wearing my beautiful Christmas hat. I've had a little kid come up and went, I was doing a Christmas craft fair this past week, and a little kid walked up to me and goes, "Are you Santa?" I'm on vacation. Oh, it's kind of funny. Some kids, they think, the energy when they walk up to you, the kids are so, you know, they think that you're possibly Santa hiding and you put your fake beard on, that sort of thing. And hey, what can I say? I am Santa. Santa Ana, Santa Maria, all the Santas. Anything to do anything to do with Santa. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me on the Facebook chat room. Those are actually on YouTube. I'm here, and last week we had Tim 17 on the program, and we were talking about all the wonderful Q things and golfing and regarding the swamp and the you name it, all that and some. And a lot of people, when they watched the program last week, they were quite in I guess say quite shocked. Some of the really good things that were going on. And right now, here's my mic. Okay, here we go. People are wondering why I'm so far away. I'm just trying to grab everything and pulling things in. Got so many things to organize this last little while. Let's see here. There we go. Yeah, good to do that. Fix it all up. So we got a lot to talk about tonight, and as well as what's happening in Canada, our 51st state. Yeah, we're the 51st state, according to our Commander-in-Chief, President Donald Trump. And some people may not like it. You're going like, oh my God, now what's going to happen? They do the tariffs, and now we're going to be up shit creek. No, you're not. No one's going to be up shit creek. We've merged with the country. Why would we be in Shit Creek? Because and actually there's a TV series called Schitt's Creek. So hey, what can I say? But no, not to worry. There's a reason why Trump called him governor, because called Trudeau governors, because he's lowering his standards to him, because when you become governor, you're no longer prime minister. So according to let's put it this way, there's a little bit of slips in here. Some people like it, some people don't, and so that's how things are up in some areas, right? So hey, let's talk about weather real quick here. So Diane says it's damp weather, cold here in Kawartha Village in Peterborough. That means in Ontario. I'm up here in British Columbia, the western coast. We're close to Spokane, Washington, that area. And we got people actually from all over the world that are joining us later on through the night. I actually want to share something with you folks. I was actually invited to come into a chat room on the Telegram page. These lovely people and asked me to come on and join them and to be a speaker. So I joined a page called, I think it's, what was their wonderful page called? I forgot now. Have a quick look here. I'll remind myself which one it is. Called Together We Build. That's their page. Together We Build on Telegram. If you guys ever get a chance to join a really wonderful, great people, they're called Together We Build, and this is their page on Telegram. If you don't have the Telegram app, download it, folks. It's worth your while. Anyways, what they did is they interviewed me, and I spent 4 hours with them on the interview on their channel. And it was busy as heck. I had a lot of fun sharing information, what I know, my knowledge, and as well as I did some readings up there for the night. It was actually unexpected. I didn't expect to do anything, but for some reason I felt led to do something for somebody who needed help, and it was good to do. I really enjoyed it. So they asked me back. I'll go back and do it again. Sure, no problem. We have a lot of stories to talk about. Number one, I want to bring up the subjects of our government a little bit, but a second subject too also will be the drones. They're all over the world, and these are the size of houses, and their size of cars, and their size of boats, and whatever you want to call them size of. And everybody's asking me, "Oh my God, what are we going to do about these drones?" Well, not to worry, folks. Those drones are actually, if you ever go online on the internet and you type in the word patent drones, the size of cars and houses, the U.S. government, okay, not Trump's people, this is Biden's people, they patented, or they actually applied for patent to build these drones. So these are surveying drones. These drones here are, I guess to say, shit disturbers. and they basically follow you around. They track you. They're tracking drones, and some are possibly involve some other nefarious things. So we just have to let you know, be careful. And what I got a kick out of is when our commander in chief even said, if those drones get too close to you on the ground, shoot them down. Guess what? People are actually in the States took their guns and they're shooting the drones down, because these drones are in the skies by the hundreds. Number is not just 10 or 20 drones, by the hundreds. They're all over the skies everywhere across the world. So, what can I say? They're all we're dealing with all kinds of stuff right now, folks. It's going on. And the people are either like it, dislike it. But the cool part is, what I like about these drones, and not like about them and dislike about them, but the interesting part is that we have extraterrestrial orbs that are flying through the skies, and they're shooting them down too, because those orbs, those extraterrestrial orbs, they're coming down higher from the skies, like way up above. They're coming down, and they're blowing them up, because the thing is, there is a military law. There's a difference, folks. When there's so many drones in the skies like that, it's almost like being in the military. We're under military law, okay, because our military protection. So basically, if there's too many drones in the skies, it's almost like as if these drones are sent out for a reason to do some harm. People are affected by, if those don't have any, say for example, in Canada here or other countries, if people don't have any weapons to protect themselves, those drones could be hovering above you. You don't know what they're going to do. Now, some people said they witnessed lights coming from the drones shooting down at people. They witnessed some drones were shooting out sprays of sorts, like they were spraying something out of the skies. And apparently it was affecting people. So there's so many different types of things. Now, whether we like or dislike it, but we need to know, what do we do about these drones? Well, like I said before, there is a specific air force or air, like I say, protection by the military. Our commander-in-chief knows about it now. And but there's also extraterrestrial beings that there's an agreement between Earth and them, which is Stargate, called Stargate, I guess, or something like that. They themselves are up there, and these extraterrestrial beings are coming down, and they're shooting down the drones. Not every one at the same time, but they have the ability to examine which drone is troublemaker, and they shoot it down. Or we don't know, there's a laser coming out of it, and so basically they shoot them down. Now, the thing is, this also relates to people kept talking about the nuclear, weapons. And so if there's anything that relates to and that connected to the drones, we don't know that. But I will say this: we make sure we have to protect our family and friends and people that are, I don't care if you have an enemy that's next door. The fact is, if you don't agree with the neighbor next door, you protect them, because it's important, right? And so we need to let everybody know that, your drones are not your friends. Not at the moment, not these ones anyways, not your friends. So if you see them, report them. Okay, like, hey, what are they doing above the sky? Now, they've been seen above Ontario. They've been seen above Nova Scotia. They've been seen above British Columbia here in Canada. They're seen all over the States and other parts of Europe, and pretty well almost every part of the world. So this is not something that's just, and they're coming out of the water of the ocean. Some are coming out of the ocean. Some are coming out from other locations. Now, what I'm trying to figure out is, who's controlling those drones? How many remote machines are being used to control these drones? And so the only way they're able to see through or see how far, or knowing how far they can go, who's actually controlling these remote controllers, okay? And where are they located? Now, is it by sea or by land or both? And where is the location? Where are they controlling them from? What location? We're trying to figure that out, right? So that's what's going on as we speak. Now, I would say, to my understanding, those drones are basically to trying to see if they can actually intimidate you and to scare you. I tell you, people like that right now, don't let them bother you. If these drones have a tendency of attacking you, because sometimes there's actually saw some videos where there was one drone attacking two guys in the field, and one guy, it was actually dive bombing. This one drone was dive bombing at these two guys in the field on the farm, and one guy on the farm took his rifle out of his truck and shot it, and it went down. Okay, I'm not sure it was a shotgun of some sort, but he shot it down. So the thing is that it was literally attacking guys, dropping like it was dive bombing at these farmers. So we've got troubles. Okay, so again, these I don't know who, like I said before, I have no idea who's controlling these drones. We're going to find out sooner or later. Now, some people are saying, "Oh, the drones are coming from another country. It's from Iraq. It's from Iran. It's from um, Israel. It's from Palestine." No, we don't know. We have no idea. Here is I mean, the citizens have no idea. Now, is the government going to tell you? No, the government knows about it. If they do say anything, why isn't the mainstream media talking about the drones? They're not. They're not saying a word. They're just let things go by. So basically, we are the mainstream media. That's important. We need to share the information amongst each other. We have to share the stories. If you actually have seen them, video record them, folks. Share with them. TikTok is trying to shut these down or these videos down from people. Just make sure when you do a video, don't mention the word drone. Okay, spell it, but never say the word. And if you see it, then record it and say this is for entertainment purposes only, just like this show. It's the only way you're going to be able to do it. Because if you don't say that, then they will. Right now, TikTok is dive bombing and knocking things out, especially for Canadians, because our I would say ungracious feminist Justine Trudeau said that we cannot say anything or do anything on TikTok anymore. We can't share information, and that he's trying to prevent us from actually doing anything from Canada. So, oh, there's a bill. We passed a bill, and Bill 63. You can't say nothing. You can't do this. Can't do that. Horseshit. Okay, and I will say that to anybody's face, because no government that has the right to control us, because they're a corporation. They're not a government. They're corporation. They're making up stories to pass laws and rules that you cannot speak up for yourself. Free speech. Okay. I'm not talking about now if they're harming someone verbally, like as in really major harm, then I can understand it. But these rules are going too twisted. They're making it where they don't want you to talk about any politician, especially politicians. They don't want talking about anything that's going on in government. They want you nothing to talk about anybody who's doing something that's bad that may relate to the government. They don't want anybody who's famous who may be related to the government, or doing dubious things. So they're being protected. Why are they being protected? Because these bad people have got something on other people, and the government actually is actually having to protect them. But yet, people like you and I that are the innocent ones, we are the independent reporters. Okay, we're the independent reporters. We are the real news. Okay, not your mainstream medias. They are paid to lie to you, because Justin Trudeau gave them I think it's $5 or $6 million to lie, and he even said it on the news, right in public, verbally, on the news, on film. He said, "I gave this money to CBC, CTV, as well as Global, to lie for him." So what he did also is to prevent any independent filmmakers, people like you and I, or if you're working for independent radio stations or TV stations, they won't allow you to interview them because you share the truth. They're afraid of you. That's how it works. They're afraid of all of us. So we are the truth. That's why our commander in chief will say to us, they want us to share as much information as possible. Okay. And if we see something and we know it's the truth, share it. Don't be afraid to hide it. Now, if you're not sure, if you don't want to get too involved, pass the information on to somebody else and let them do the story for you. But never worry about it. No one's going to hurt you. That's the way it is. And no one can tell you, well, if you tell the story, you're going to go to jail. No, you have the right to tell the story. Now, this next thing's coming up too. We're talking about the 15-minute cities. Now, there has been talk now. They're bringing it up again in the mainstream media. The WEF is actually wanting to start to do here in Canada as well as the United States, the 15-minute cities. They've already started in Europe. They already started in Edmonton. Edmonton's already started as 15-minute city. They tried to do it in Surrey. Surrey has not started yet here in British Columbia. They're trying some other regions as well, and especially small towns. They don't want anybody to leave their town. It's almost like, why? They don't want, unless you have an electric car, you can't leave town, or you can't drive your gas powered vehicle. Do not listen to them. You have the right to drive your vehicle anywhere you want to see fit. They're trying to make it where that they have a law passed. They can tell you what to do, where to go, what not to do. No, now they want to do a credit checking on you. Now they want to make sure that they want to give you numbers, like you're only allowed to have X amount of points to go somewhere to buy something or do something. No, we're not China. That's just the way it works. Okay, we're not going to be like China. Never. I will stand up against it. I'll fight against it, and I will be out there. I will not allow anybody to tell me what to do, how to live my life. None. And the thing is that also I tell people yeah, carbon credits. I'll have if you fart, that's a carbon credit loss. Make sure everybody actually eats lots of beans, chili, and beer, and make sure you have plenty of carbon credits, removed. Oh my God. Or you have a lot of cows. They're trying to plug up the cows now. They want cows to start wearing these diapers. No, it's been crazy. Okay. So it's a game. And right now they're also trying to. I've watched a lot of videos. Let's see. There's Costco, who has been allowing large abundant of sales by the pellets of eggs. They are going out the door like crazy because ever since they've had the so-called pretend bird flu H1N5 here in BC and other areas, especially they had the big in Vancouver. They had a couple people in Costco came through in Vancouver, and they went in and they bought all the eggs. I mean, they filled those carts up like crazy. There was no eggs left. Two people bought all of the eggs and took them. Why would they do that? Because they're believing that the bird flu is going to take away the meat. They're going to take away your food source. We don't have bird flu. And do not line up for the freaking snake bites, guys, because they're coming out again. I've seen advertising everywhere at the bus stations, the bus stops. Now they're telling people line up again to come get your snake bites. And don't be stupid. You're not doing anything good for yourself. They still said that they're still not done. Bill Gates even said himself, we're not done removing 7 more billion people. He wants 7 more billion people gone, leaving this earth by 2025. And people are actually saying to me, well, then he keeps on saying this, then why they're letting him live? He should be behind bars. The real Gates is gone. Okay? This is a ploy to pull you out, to still think that you need to be scared, that you need to hide behind a mask, 6 feet apart, in your house. Don't do anything. Don't communicate. Stay away from everybody. Come on, give me a break. You know, I remember when I was a kid growing up on the farm, we had freedom to say, do, hear, speak, yell, scream, sing, wave your hand, do your thing wherever you want to do in the farm, anywhere, go anywhere you want, do what you want. No rules. Respect, no rules. And that today they're telling you can't do any of those things. Why? Because they want to control you. Now, I know what the rules are. I know what life was all about when I was a kid because of my age. But the young ones today, okay, 6, 15, 16 younger, they have no idea. They don't know what the real freedom is all about. You have to teach them. You have to teach them what real freedom is. You have to teach them how to stand up for themselves and say no. These kids have no idea. And don't let them go to school wearing masks. Don't. Don't let them go to school if there's actually still pressure having to do sex changes and SOGI and all that. Come on, SOGI 1, 2, 3. They're actually the RCMP, the police, just a few days ago, arrested in Chilliwack, BC, arrested a farmer who participated at the SOGI 1, 2, 3 because he did not want his kids or any other child to be forced to do sexual and learn sexual sex courses. They're teaching children how to masturbate at the age of 6 to 14. They want you to walk out naked in a class and have sex in a classroom. It's like they're thinking it's a good thing. What the hell's going on? That's not education, guys. Get those kids out of there. This is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit. Get them out of there. It's not even a school. And these teachers who you think are good, or anybody who represents the school board, guess what? When we have the lockdown, we got one more lockdown to go. One more. An EBS, emergency broadcasting system, is going to come on. And it's going to be a cleanup. It's called cleanup. Okay? Cleaning the swamp. Guess is going to go bye-bye? The school board. Because they supported SOGI. Guess who else is going to go bye-bye? All the pedophiles. Guess who else is going to go bye-bye? Anybody who actually starts walking around and going after children. They're going bye-bye. Okay? Human traffickers, sex traffickers, all these people are gone. They're cleaning up the swamp. And I'm telling you, we're going to be in our house not too long from now for about 10 to 14 days. I predicted this about 2, 3, 4 years ago. I told you guys this is going to happen. And everybody keeps, oh, yeah, right. Yeah, they're not going to do anything. Yes, they are. It's coming still. It's the last thing that has to be finished. Because once we're doing those lockdowns, we're in our house, we are watching a military tribunals. These are already pre-recorded because all those people that were already taken care of a couple of years ago, taken out, taken away, gone. The ones you see on TV or in movies, those were pre-done a long time ago. The ones you see on TV, those are actors. Those are actors wearing a mask to look like them, act like them, voice modulators, okay, clones, we don't know. But they're only there temporary. And there's some that are actually got awake, okay? There's ones that did not want to participate to be in the deep state. They weren't supporting Trump, so they never got harmed. And they're actually are exposing the people now. They're exposing Hollywood because this is not what they wanted. They always wanted to be actors and singers and entertainers, but they didn't want to join no freaking satanic organization. That was not their goal. Their goal was wanting to entertain the public because they enjoyed it, because they wanted to entertain people. That was their goal. They wanted to entertain people. But you got these jerks that want to, it's been going on for a lot of years. And, I there's one thing I want to say. There was a bit of conflict that I had with one of the ladies in one of the chat rooms, and we mentioned about Disneyland, and I did some research on Walt Disney, and I thought, okay, Walt Disney didn't. What I was told, Walt Disney did not even know anything about human trafficking or children, sort of in a negative way. Because I was watching a documentary on, and he never had any time for any of this at the beginning when he was actually trying to create Disneyland. He was too busy with it. And yet in there, it says that he actually did join as a Freemason. Yes, once you are becoming well-known in the community, well-known in public, there are some rich people that are financially backing you. But in the end, they're saying, well, here, we'll financially back you, but if we back you, we want you to join this organization. Now, mind you guys, there's a lot of secret organizations besides the Freemasons. There's actually oh my God, there's so many of them. Okay. The Shriners, and you name it, they're all related to the they just give it just different name. But what these organizations were supposed to be about was to make sure that anybody who's part of an organization, if you run short of money, you can't do well. If you lose your job, you're financially taken care of because they make sure they watch their brother sisterhood. That's what this whole secret organization was about. But certain groups of people decided to steer to the other direction and go into the red, as in double red. Okay. I'm not talking about what I'm wearing. I'm talking about as in the real bad red. Okay. Adrenochrome, sacrifice, the whole 9 yards. And these are the baddies. So you got two types of Freemasons. This is where it started. So one is good and one was evil. So you can't label everybody as everybody's evil, because they weren't. They had good, there was good in them. They were trying to just think, okay, I'll be part of an organization. I thought it'd be kind of cool. And I do these, learn to take on levels. Mind you, I'm not trying to support anybody. What I'm trying to point out is I tell people this: do your due diligence of research before you start to label, listening to somebody else's story and say, oh, they're all evil. They're not. Not everybody is bad. Okay. And not everybody sacrificed a child when they got their 33rd. It didn't happen. So the thing is that there's someone I know who actually got a 41 or 42. Someone I know got 42 level and never sacrificed anybody. So the thing is that it's rare, but again, how long have they been doing this? Thing is that I don't know what the secrets are. I couldn't care less. The only why would you worry about the secrets when you got God taking care of you? Okay, and so I tell people, God is the answer. Always has been, always will be. But yet you have people out there that do work with God or work with your spirit, like myself, and we try to help give guidance, the positive, not the negative, but the positive, to show you never to be afraid. And that's why I'm here. And many people like me are here. We come out there, we try to share our loving information for you guys to say what's going on, what to expect, what to see, what you hear, what you are supposed to see. Okay. So right now, for example, in the cabinet, we got Chrystia Freeland, who actually stepped down from her position of being with Trudeau. Okay. She stepped down because she was tired of being humiliated. Well, number one, she didn't step down because she wanted to. She stepped down because Trudeau told her to. He wanted to put her into a different position, to lower her in a position which she's not as valued as much as she used to be. Plus, he knew that it wasn't because she was in trouble. It's because he did not want her to share the monies or share the stories regarding the monies. They had to be released in Parliament. That had what was going on, how much Canada was in debt. And the Liberals kept on detaining it for the longest time, for months and months and months. And they kept blaming the Conservatives over that. Oh, well, if you got this secured, you actually took these swore in for this program that you can actually see these, but once you swear in, you can't share it to the public. You see, that's almost like being a Freemason, isn't it? Once you swear in, you can't release it. It's like being a Freemason. So the thing is, that's what Parliament was about. Parliament's like being a Freemason. Once you swear in, you can't share the stories unless unless you're allowed to. And they'll say, okay, we can release this and share this with the public, but they're not going to tell you everything. There's things that happen in cabinet that you don't get to see or hear because that's what the Speaker of the House does. The Speaker of the House will mute certain things that he will not allow it to be heard in public. But yet, when you want to see, if you talk about free speech, and there's sometimes that he doesn't like you to share free speech, he'll mute you too, that you can't, or if you're in Parliament, he won't let them in the public to even hear it. And so the thing is, that's how this works. Or he'll scold you, and if he doesn't like to hear what you say, that you're actually really telling the truth, and asking someone regarding why they weren't telling the truth, or why they're doing this and why they're doing that, next thing you know, that person gets scolded who's actually questioning them, and they get kicked out of Parliament. Why? You're not harming them. You didn't scold. You didn't yell at anybody. You didn't call them down any names. You're just asking why. Well, because the Speaker of the House has the say and says, no, we don't want you to talk about this. Get out. And he'll actually use the code, I can't remember the number 11, something or other, and he kicks you out for the day. And so you can't speak, you can't ask questions anymore, so you're gone. In the meantime, someone else takes over, and they start to speak up and ask, probably may repeat the same question. And it happened by the Conservatives. The Conservatives actually, a couple months back, fought back. They actually verbally stood up against the Liberals, questioned the same question, a specific question, and 4 of them got kicked out of Parliament, one after the other. Now, why would our Speaker of the House, why did he kick them out? Because he's a pro-liberal. He was liberal at the beginning, and he's pro-liberal because he's protecting them. Think about it, guys. He's protecting them. No Speaker of the House is supposed to be protecting anybody. His job is supposed to be there to recognize who is on the floor to speak. That's it, nothing more. Or to keep the House in a norm and nobody yells over each other. That's what a Speaker of the House is. But he started using his proprietary power and started to kick people out. And he was being an idiot. And so people decided to do a petition and to have him removed out of Parliament. Now, mind you, there was a Speaker in the House a few months before who actually got the Ukrainian freedom fighter, who actually was an ex-SS officer in the German war, and they kicked him out because he allowed that person to come into the Parliament to get a standing ovation. Little did he realize that's Chrystia Freeland's uncle or great uncle. Okay, she's related to that man because he was an SS officer. She's Ukraine. Okay, that's where she's from. Chrystia Freeland is from the Ukraine. Okay, her family are part of the German Reich, the Fourth Reich. It has always been. So if you guys want to feel pity for Chrystia Freeland for her losing her position, that was all arranged. Think about it. Okay, Justin Trudeau himself, his wife, Grigori, actually is the granddaughter of Adolf Hitler. Think about it, guys. This is all a show showing you, here come the clowns. And this is all a show. Every bit of piece of it, everybody is a show. They kept on saying that no woman would ever do the job as a prime minister. Could ever do the job. And they're wrong. There was a woman that was able to do the job at the beginning, and she was also a conservative leader, and her name was Kim Campbell. And she was practicing lawyer as well. Now, Kim Campbell, back in 1993, was elected as the very first female, non-Indigenous, white, she was actually white, became a prime minister of Canada, but she only lasted for 6 months. Why? Because the previous prime minister, accumulated so many illegal things and hid them away. Okay. And then knew he was being tracked and traced. And so he stepped down from his position being prime minister. So when she was voted in as prime minister, guess what? After the 6 months, what did they do? They dumped on her. They gave her all the case files and they dumped on her and blamed her for what they did previously before. And they said, see, this woman can never do a job, can never do a job. A woman can't do the job to lead this country. She was doing a good thing. But again, Kim Campbell knew what she was taking on, and she became so emotional. And I remember watching her. I was proud to see her. She was doing well. And then all of a sudden she was gone. Why she was gone? Because she knew that they were going to dump on her and accuse her of illegal stuff that took place. And it wasn't her stuff. She never signed for it, but she actually swore in as a prime minister. So when you become a prime minister leading your country, you are responsible for every file before you. Anybody who was prime minister before you, anybody who did some bad dealings, you're responsible. Now, if you find it, discover it, you share it in the public, let them know it's this discovery. But if it's not discovered and it's kept away in silence, and then someone says, hey, what's this file doing here? Next thing you know, it was Kim Campbell's fault. And that's exactly what they did. They blamed her for all of the bullshit and leaks. Now, if you guys may remember that, sometimes you guys need to look this up. Look up Kim Campbell's story, okay? Guaranteed, when you see what happened to her, you're going to go like, oh my God, I can't believe it. The shit she went through, it wasn't good. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. Okay, I want to show you guys this, because you need to see this. This is for anybody who's even an American too. You need to see what's going on. Let's open this up more. So Kim Campbell actually is a former Canadian politician, lawyer, diplomat, and writer. Okay. Who served as the 19th Prime Minister of Canada from June 1993 until November that same year. Now, Campbell is the first and only female Prime Minister of Canada. Why is it? Why is it that she lost her position? Okay. Why did she step down? Who was the Prime Minister before her? Think about it. So, even though here's the thing. She left, says Kim left at the end of the series to go on a maternity leave. No. No. So here it is right here. So number one, and I'm not going to go all through the whole thing, but this shows you what she was like. A progressive. She was actually a progressive conservative, which is called conservatives we have right now. Campbell was the first woman to serve as prime minister, and she served on one short term in 1993, and she succeeded Brian Mulroney. So there's your screw up. He hid away a lot of garbage, guys. Okay. As prime minister and led the Progressive Conservative Party of Canada in the general election of 1993, and the Progressive Conservatives were almost wiped out in the election, going from a majority government of 150 seats of dissolution to 2 seats and a loss of party status in the House of Commons. It was the worst defeat of the federal government in Canadian history. Campbell lost her seat, okay, and announced her resignation on election night. Jean Chrétien, leader of the Liberal Party Canada, succeeded her as the prime minister, and Jean Chrétien became the leader of the Progressive Conservative Party. And Jean Chrétien was the most, I can tell you more, that man is corrupt as all can be too. Him personally. Campbell stood for the election for the House of Commons twice, and she was elected in the general election of 1988, but defeated in 1993 election. Prior to entering the federal politics, Campbell has been involved in provincial municipal politics at her own home province of British Columbia. Now, the main part is, under the rules of the House of Commons, the Progressive Conservatives did not have enough seats for the official party status, and it was a worst loss of federal government in Canadian history. Now, Campbell was defeated in her own seat and announced her resignation because she was trying to make a comeback again. But again, there was garbage in her that was put inside of her files or in the filing cabinet that were hidden away for her to find when she got there. In the meantime, she didn't look at them or see them at the time. Somebody else pulled them out and blamed her for the problem. So she lost her position, or not just, she just got fed up with it. Yeah, Jean Chrétien was liberal. He was the most ugly as all can be. He was very well. Let's put it this way: Jean Chrétien actually was, first of all, before he became politician, he was actually the head of Department of Indian Affairs. He was the very first man that opened up the very first residential school in Canada. And so he was pro-Indian in the residential school. He was very much as I would call a racist. He loves to control, and he took great pleasure in getting away with what he's doing. Okay, so like I said before, so he was not as nice a guy as you think he was. And Jacques Chrétien, see, he had certain people that are protecting him, that backed him up. But you can see, if you ever went online, look on Kim Campbell, you'll find out, how her votes and how she was up against Jean Charest at the time. And but the person before her, who actually was prime minister, that lost his position because she thought she was going to bring in something good and clean and bring Canada around where, she was going to be proud of it. So the thing is that she's the very first conservative leader as a prime minister. So that's why when we're looking for Pierre Poilievre to say, hey, we want you to be the leader of our conservative party, and that's why Pierre Poilievre is doing it. Okay, so, but he's not going to do the same. He's not going to repeat himself playing the same role. He's going to do better. Okay, because this man is very relaxed. And you know what? I wouldn't put it past Pierre Poilievre if he actually went down to see Kim Campbell to see how she's doing, and learn things from her, what she went through. I'm sure he must have gone to talk to her about it. And I would be flabbergasted if let's put it this way, Pierre Poilievre, if you actually know if Kim Campbell's around, I recommend to go see her in person, spend some time with her, and maybe invite her up into Parliament just for a day, and for her to sit next or near you guys and to say, hey, remember this woman, Kim Campbell? Wonderful person. She did very well here, except, she was demeaned because there was a lot of the men, the old school guys, you actually had said, and I heard this in Parliament, and they all said, no woman can do a political job to lead a country. They said the man can only do it, and the men can do it, not women. And that was wrong. Absolutely wrong what they had said that, because basically you got to think about this woman as a mother. Women are women, and they can lead the world and the country because they have kids that are born in this world. They are the teachers. Okay. The men were actually the providers and the women were the teachers, but the men try to use the old school attitude, like men are smarter than women. She was very, very intelligent. Okay. She knew what she was talking about. So, according to, it says here, mission schools for Indigenous children established for more than 200 years, from the early 1600s and the 1800s. Religious orders run mission schools for Indigenous children, the precursors of the government of Canada's residential school system, and that's what basically Jean Chrétien controlled. He was, and I can tell you guys stories that the Department of Indian Affairs actually had. They hired truant officers. These were unregistered police officers. These are just people like detectives, and they swore them in. They call them truant officers, and they would wear a black hat and typical Colombo coat, and with 2 pairs of children's handcuffs, iron handcuffs, and they put them in their pockets. And if they had to go find an Indigenous child, let's say an Indigenous child ran away from the school, and so they're sent out to go find that kid. Or if a child ran away from residential school, they would go and find that kid, and they wouldn't take him back to the school. They actually put the kid behind bars in jail and fingerprint them and then call them a convict. So they basically, because they're basically making you believe that it's illegal to run away or illegal. That's why the first Indigenous child was always considered as they consider this children that can never be can never ever blend in with the non-Indigenous society, because they want to make them into bad kids, bad people, and they convince the public, the citizens of Canada as well as United States, they practice devil worshiping, and it's not true. It's the reverse opposite. They're the most decent people in all of the land. And the thing is, this is what your federal government was doing, was to demean them, defame them, and demoralize and destroy them. And basically they said their words were, we're going to take the Indian out of them and make them white. You can't do that. You can never do that. And so the thing is that, there's 4 or 5 generations that, like these generations, that lost their humanism in themselves, but they were strong, they're most strongest people, and they stuck it out. And it takes about 6, 7 generations before these kids today, and I'm hoping these kids today can learn to understand and understand that, sure, what their parents, grandparents went through, the pain and loss, but today it's not going to be the same anymore. It's going to be a lot better. Kids are actually doing way better. They're getting education. These kids are actually able to educate and study and become university students, and become either doctors, lawyers, you name it. They're out there. They're out there, and they're doing a fantastic job. So and sure, we have racism at some point, but again, that needs to be looked at, and that's just the way things are. Like even Ernie in our chat room, I remember the place and growing up and up the system in the Mission, BC. Yeah, there was. I grew up around it in Manitoba for a very brief time, and then my father escaped us away from Manitoba and took us to Alberta, which they're far more advanced and not into, like, residential schools were still strong going in Manitoba up until 1993, and that's my parents wanted me to not be like what they went through. We moved ahead that time. So yeah, let's put it this way. They took away the language, and you're saying, Keith, they took away the language? No, not really. They didn't take the language away. The First Nations peoples, they actually secretly kept it quiet as much as they can and kept it a secret, but they did secretly share most tribes. I'm hope not all tribes maybe, but most tribes, they secretly kept the languages. They secretly kept the ceremonies. My mom was going to secret ceremonies before I was even born. And when powwows still existed, but they were illegal back then. They called them illegal, but they never were illegal. That's where the priests had their pressure on the government. Anyways, yeah. And did you ever read the book I sent you about residential schools? I've got so many books on residential schools. I appreciate it, Corlin. Yeah, I was part of it. And when I was part of Lower Fraser Valley Aboriginal Society as a director, they had many books there for people to. They're giving them away to us to read and share, and for other people to see. So that's how things are, right? So, anyways, to go further into this, like I said before, as far as our government's concerned, this is where we have changed. We are going to be a better country where racism is no longer tolerated. And that's where our commander-in-chief comes in, okay? Because he won't tolerate it. He wants everyone's equal, because our country is, and even like, for example, Pierre Poilievre, he's trying his darndest. He's been working with all kinds of people from all over, every race as you can think. Trudeau is not as you think he is. He's what you call, Trudeau was always picking the certain groups of people. When he brought in Jody Wilson-Raybould, that was his token Indian, so to speak. And no disrespect to Jody Wilson-Raybould, she's a wonderful lady, but Trudeau was trying to make himself look good, right? But when he realized she was too smart, then he had to find a way to get her out. So, and there was a few people in that with other races that did say in their own interviews that they're known as token people too, in different of other races. So Trudeau was picking, choosing other race work in his cabinet. It wasn't because of qualifications, because of their race. And so they're coming forward now. He's already lost 9 MPs, Liberal MPs. They've already walked out on him because of the bullshit that he's actually corrupted. And now they're realizing that they can't hang on to the party because to be of being liberal. They can't hang on to it because it's too corrupt. It's too messed up, and it needs to be cleaned. And so the only way they can fix it is get rid of Trudeau. Now everybody kept saying, "Oh, Trudeau's stepping down. He's gonna quit." No, he won't. He's there to fight to the end, and it's going to take certain files to put him behind bars for treason. You have to still see the truth. It's not done yet. You're close. So now what he's doing, here's what Trudeau did. He got CBC to go after every mainstream media, after every independent reporter. For example, as of today and yesterday. Now, when you go and watch Parliament, and if anybody ever likes to watch Parliament, you get to see in the Parliament building the debates between the Conservatives, NDP, and Liberals, and the Green Party, whoever else is in there. Anyways, you get to see them debating back and forth and questioning and do their little discussion. Now, there actually is it's called a Parleview, or actually a parliamentary camera, and you get to watch it, view it, and you can record it. Okay. What's happening today now? CBC is going after, went on YouTube and actually complained on YouTube that people were stealing CBC's videos, because people were reporting the same videos, reporting the same stories that they are doing their own personal stuff on their program. So there's many others that I know of. There's about 5 or 6 people that I know that were trying their darndest. They haven't tried and they actually, some people are earning money doing it, because it's all. I mean, a lot of these guys have been doing these shows because they can't get work right now. Okay, so they are monetizing their show, so that's why they're getting people to keep on. The more you like and support, then the more and then that's where YouTube sends them this wonderful little block. And next thing you know, if you get over 1,000 people that are voting for you, then you start getting paid some money coming from YouTube itself. So this is how people are earning their income. And some of these people would have 20, 30, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, even 1 million followers on their program. Okay. So the thing is that CBC decided to go after everybody and claiming that it's their copyright. Okay. So what CBC is doing is, because basically what happens, like in Parliament, you have what you call fair use. That means you can actually get your film. And I work when I work at a radio station, so I've learned a lot for what I can say myself without having to worry about the mainstream media themselves, like the ones that work for the corporations. We're independent. But anyways, this is called fair use. Basically, as long as you attach your own show, your own reviews, and knowing that what you've got, you don't have to use CBC as a backup. You can review what CBC is doing, but you already have your own stories, right? You already have your own views. So CBC is attacking all of the independent programmers, and they're causing them of, I guess say, accusing them of copyright and infringements. And so basically they're stealing their money. So that's what CBC is doing. They are making claim of their own income. They're going to make claim of the other independent reporters' income. So there's some sort of rule or law that if you claim copyright, that in copyright infringement, and if it passes, then they can steal all your money away from you. And what the YouTube will do is hand over all of the independent income that person's been doing for all these last few months or few years. They can hand all that money over to CBC, because don't forget, guys, CBC is starving right now. They don't have money because now Trudeau is not protecting them anymore. And that's why CBC now is going after Trudeau. That's why they're questioning him a lot, even though they're trying to keep him in favor. But this is what's happening. So they're accusing of taking copyrighted videos from them and also monetizing, and which basically you're making money from it. Now, this is totally wrong what CBC is doing. There's the Canadian, they're called the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, but I call them more of their corruption corporation. And they're lying through, and basically CBC is lying through their teeth. All the parliamentary copyright is free, and it's not, CBC does not own any of that. They don't own anything from Parliament. It's not, doesn't belong to them. But CBC is making claim that it's theirs because they'll do take pictures of the scene that you had done. Oh, that's ours. That's ours. Oh, that's ours. No, it's not. That's your own stuff. You already have your own claim. Now, what I tell people is, if you look at my lower right corner on my YouTube page, you'll see me in the lower right corner. There's me in the picture, right? So it's not just the screen, but the lower right corner. So that means that whatever I share on there, that's me. That's my stuff. I don't have, that means I have full copyright of anything that I share and talk about this evening in this program. So, so CBC is getting desperate because they are being quashed very soon, and because that's exactly what's going on. They're going to be they're pulling, the government's going to, conservatives are pulling CBC out. And as we know, because basically, like even what our President Trump even said, fake news. And that's what CBC was, because they're faking the news. They're making up lies. They were also, if you look at CBC, they were also involved during the, they were on location many times at the convoy when they had the freedom protest. And they were out there and they were looking for trouble, and they were told where to go. And actually CBC hired somebody to bring out a Nazi flag and to fly it, and then they record it. Okay, so this is all a setup. CBC is involved in some pretty dubious deals, because some people said they witnessed CBC handing a flag over to someone, and they said, "Here, hang this over Terry Fox's statue," and then they video recorded it. So nobody there. Why would anybody be stupid enough to put a Nazi flag on top of Terry Fox? Doesn't make any sense. He's a hero. The kid is a superhero. And I'll tell you something too about Terry Fox. When I was a kid living in Alberta, I used to hang out with Terry Fox before he lost his leg. I knew him before he actually lost his leg, because I was a farm kid and we used to drive around his truck. And then later on, he got sick and he ended up losing his leg and having to be on that. And I never did talk to him after that. He was on his own. But again, that's because people go into certain ways. Now, as many of the folks would know, Justin Trudeau, he also, like I said before, he gave CBC, CTV, and Global $4.6 million and or more. And he said to them, he wanted the media to lie for him. And they were joking. They were laughing. Ha, ha, ha. No, he was serious. Those are his words. I want the media to lie for me. Here's money. Here's the money. Here's the tax dollars money. So you guys are paying for it. Now, the money has run out. Okay, it's running out. And the Conservatives MPs, Pierre Poilievre wants them taken out, like dismantled, because of their, I guess to say their, how do you say this? Their greediness. The CBC's greedy as all heck. And they're desperate. So they're trying to get Trudeau to go on their side again, to say, here, let's shut down all these people that are independent. Now, remember, Trump said, anybody that's out there who actually is a freedom fighter, anybody who does reporting, you get yourself out there and we want you to tell the truth. And that's exactly what we're doing. So here we all go again. CBC now wants to sue. Now they're talking about suing people. They want to sue every individual person. They want to make money. Okay. They're desperate. So, and that does relate to even American channels, because you're going to have the same problem there. You're going to have some desperate channels. I'm going to do the same thing to you guys that are independent reporters. Okay, I'm not kidding you. I've actually watched a couple of people that sent me their editorials, their video editorials, and it's not fair. It's not fair. Why these guys work so hard to earn a living? There's some wonderful people out there that know their stuff. Great, they've been doing great editorial work, and all of a sudden now they're being shut down, or they're trying. The CBC is trying to shut them down. They're trying to play the game of that they are the sole owner of all film in Canada, of all they want to be the sole owner of all parliamentary views or parliamentary videos, and that no one else has the right. Bullshit. I call it bullshit. CBC, you're gone. You know it. It's going. Your day is coming, and you guys are gone. It was talked about. Trudeau had talked about dismantling you. Harper was, even when he was prime minister before that, he was talking about dismantling you, making you guys just digital, and that was before Trudeau was even prime minister. And that was, if you guys remember that, you guys almost lost your job then. I know they downsized a lot of people in CBC. So you're not, it's like they're getting desperate. There's very few people left. The boss who works for CBC, she herself is making well over $100,000. And the rest of the people who work for CBC are barely making a minimum wage. And most of them actually cannot afford to stay in BC. So now they're moving to another lower price or lower income, or not lower income, lower priced location. So a lot of them are moving out of BC. They're moving to Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, how they can afford a place to live, and then they can still carry on doing their editorials. It depends on who's going to go where and what is where. So it is tough on them. They're having a one heck of a time. I don't blame them. I feel real bad for these guys. Ernie says, yes, you have helped me with my human rights case against the corporate and won. I'm the first Aboriginal to win a human rights case, and thank you. You're welcome. I helped him to win his case. He was dealing with some, again, this is all to do with work. Ernie's also an Indigenous person. So it's, again, when you're there to support someone and help them, and they know very well you're going to win your case, for them. I care for people, and I know very well that it's unfair for people to be. Why should they be abused? It's horrible. My wife was sharing stories with me about, where a husband actually, and this is up in France, this husband actually had been drugging his wife for almost 50 years, drugging her in her food. And he was actually bringing in men and video recording men having sex with her while she's under the drug, and she has no knowledge of these guys having sex with her. So she's being raped for about 20 years until somehow the videos got out, and I guess the husband was made thousands of those videos, and apparently they were put online, and I guess the police tracked it or traced it and found out who it was doing it. So they came to his wife, found her, the police, and had a chat with her about it. Did you know that do you know that your husband actually is the one that's been, basically asked question like, did you really comply, or did you really give him permission to, have sex with other people? She goes, what are you talking about? I have no idea about this. She has no memory of it. So he's been doing this for years. He was spiking her pie, spiking her food and her drinks. So basically he did this. He got away with it. So the thing is that this man now in France, he was arrested, and so were the 75 men that got arrested. Now the husband went to court. She freely went to court and had him convicted, or told the story, and she wants the public to know the story. But this man was only tried and sentenced to 20 years. Now, you can make your own opinion on that. This man should have been sentenced to life or military tribunal. There's no way. This is a thing. For 50 years or maybe less, but he was doing this to his wife, and she had no idea that he was doing this at all. So the thing is that these are the things, folks. These people are going to be scooped up and gone. Now, if these guys are already in jail, they're still going to go bye-bye. So you guys think you know the ones that are in jail, you think you're safe? And some guys that apparently they raped a couple of the women, these 75 men that raped this woman, who he gave permission to. Some of them actually were sentenced to 2-3 years, 5 maybe 10. But it makes no difference. If you already knew what this man done, if he had drugged and you raped them because they were drugged, you're going to be going bye-bye. Sorry, but that's how things are. Anytime any of these stories are shared in public, our commander-in-chief is going to look up the files, and the military is going to come down there and then scoop the guys and go like, you know what? No, you're not going to do this 2-3 years. You're going to go bye-bye because they call in prison, they call you a skinner. Okay, a rapist. They call you Skinner. That's the name in jail. So no, they shouldn't be here. That's my opinion. Let's see. I put a map on where the schools. Okay, schools were, yeah. So there's a lot out there, folks, and I like you guys to see what's going on and know what's going on. Okay, now, yes. I know we talked about the drones. We talked about Trudeau and our Canadian country, and basically talked about him being the very first governor of Canada. And we're 51st state. Okay. And the reason why everybody's worrying about the tariffs, we're going to do better. And not to worry. Let me bring this up. Oh, yeah. Cheers, guys. This is my new cup. Ta-da. Okay. Oh, my girl's in my office. There she is. Can't come up here, little girl. So there's my cup, my Q cup. You want to come up? I got my little girl. Come on. I didn't know she was sleeping in here. Come on. Come see everybody. Come on. Come on. Come on. She'll come up. Yeah, I have my kitty. She's down here. I didn't know she's in the room. Come on up. Everybody wants to see you. Come on. Come on. Up, up. Up, up. Good girl. This is my girl. This is her. There she is. That's my little girl. There's a Tsetse bear. Okay. Let me down. Okay, let me down. Go down here. There you go. Okay. Now you know. She's a big little girl. She's Papa's little girl. If she had her way, she'd be on my desk and she'd lay herself all flat and fall asleep. You're not supposed to be in here. Mommy forgot about you. Hey, Myrna, you're in the room. Can you phone Marina? Tell him to come get the cat. Phone Marina. Tell her to come get CT Bear. You puffin' the one. You puffin'. Oh my God, you're spoiled. Right? You're spoiled. Papa loves you. Marina, call Marina. Tell her to come get the cat. It's gonna walk in. She's gonna like, what? Right? Okay, let's get going here. We're talking about the tariffs, guys, and as in, you're distracting me. So, okay, I'm using my tariffs. Okay, now Trudeau wants a prorogue parliament. That means 6 weeks, no government, no nothing can happen in cabinet. And the thing is that I tell people this regarding your tariffs, don't worry about it. Because if you worry about the tariffs, I mean, you may find a bit of a sting for a very brief time, but don't worry about it because We've already merged. Our country's already merged. So this is only just temporary. But I will say this, give you guys a heads up. In 2025, when it comes April, okay, there she is. She got the signal. Okay, we're live. Hang. Say bye, bye.
Hello, goodbye. Merry Christmas to you all.
There you go. Okay. So, and according to the tariffs, basically, I told people I'm right now, what I get as far as my vision is concerned, the month of April 2025 is going to be the biggest day ever. That is, as of now, don't buy anything expensive as in a car. Don't buy a brand new house. Don't buy a boat. Don't buy all the expensive stuff, because right now, that's large in land, the price of property is going to go down. It's going to drop, crash. Okay. So I wouldn't worry too much about it right now. I would wait until it's down. And I've given the heads up for all the real estate agents that actually are my clients. I've already told them to wait till April, and that you'll start noticing the price of property going down value. So you can afford to buy a house. You can afford to buy a car. You can afford to buy land to move to. You can afford to live in places and do things, but your income's going to grow. Okay. What I saw in the vision where your wages will increase, your income's going to increase. This is going to happen everybody across the world. It's not just one group of people. This is everywhere. So we have to trust that for you to understand this is going to do well. Okay. Because most people are worried about what's going to happen next. And I just tell them, don't worry, because you'll be fine. So her hair in my nose make me itchy. I'm not allergic, just that she's very affectionate, and she shoves her thick coat of hair in my nose. Cheers. Again, Q. So anyways, the tariffs, we've already merged with, like I said before, we've already merged between Canada, United States, Mexico, New Zealand, Australia. And what I understand, there's even a few more countries that actually merged with us too. But those are the 5 major countries. So we're going to become North Americans. Now, if you ever notice some of my flyers, whenever I do my program, and I'm actually letting you guys know on my Shadow Chasing show, all my flyers I make also have their little notes, little teasers to show you what's going to be coming up as far as future. So I put a Grinch, a baby Grinch, on the front of the flyer, and he has his rear end facing forward to you, and it says, "You've been mooned." Now, what that means actually is that we're in a full moon right now, and so there's a lot of shifting and changing. Everyone's talking about the weather, how much is shifting has changed. How come we are time shifting? We're time shifting again. We're time shifting where I've noticed that myself, my energy is more vibrant than it used to be, but for the last, I would say 6 weeks or so, or maybe 2 months or so, my energy, I kept feeling like I was actually sleepy. I couldn't figure, like, why am I falling asleep all the time? And there's nothing wrong with my health. I just said, why am I feeling sleepy? The energy in the air, it's in the earth, it's shifting so much that it sometimes it feels like it's draining the heck out of you. So that's not you per se, and it's not your age per se. It's basically, it's the weather and the shifting of the earth shifting. It's actually what it's doing. It's shifting. Also, on the ornament, you'll see that's above my hand, it says Happy 17 Day. Well, 17th number is actually the Christ number. It's the letter Q. Now, Q is a Christ number of Jesus, our Savior. And what I told people too, that the word Christ, okay, we already know that Christ means the blessing of God, blessing of light. But when you call yourself a Christian, or IAN, what I was learning was it's a Hebrew name for God is gracious, or God of good. Okay. So anybody, I've had people say to me, "Well, Derek, you're a psychic. You're a psychic, and are you a Christian?" Yes, I am. I don't have to go to a church to be Christian. I mean, I walk in the Christ light. I walk with Christ. I am who I am. I'm a Christ I am. Okay. So Christ I am, or Christian, or Christ I am, is the same thing as I-A-N or I am, because I am of Christ as well. We all walk in the Christ light. So that's something I've learned a lot in spirit. I had a one pronounced dream last night for you guys to know this. And they also said to expect masks to be removed and the exposures of reptilians under the mask. Okay. People who you thought were human were not. So it's going to, you may not accept it, you may not like it, you may not want to hear it, but you'll start to see the truth. Remember, there's actually a movie called V. Now, I'm not talking about V of the other one, but there's actually one called V, which relates to these people, humans that were wearing, they look human, and then they took off this mask, and next thing they were actually reptilian. That was based on the true story, based on this is what's happening, and they were trying to expose the truth. They want you to see the truth. I'm not saying everybody's reptilian, but you're going to start seeing some different people that are not who you think they are. They all like to dress up like us because we're such a beautiful, beautiful people that they to look like us. Now, there are people that are born human that are of extraterrestrial lineage of other planetary system, like say Venusian, Saturnian, other planetary systems. So they also will show up and walk down the street, and you wouldn't even know it's them, unless you have very strong sensitivities of energies that you can recognize them, like a Geiger counter. It's almost like you could pick up like radiation or something, that like your body goes, I get this feeling that somebody's here, like you're looking around. That's what you're doing. You're picking up, like you sense it. Your spider sense is tingling. And that's what happens to me. I can sense certain things. I'm going around like, okay, something's going on here I don't understand, or I need to see. But I tell people, don't be fearful of it. Look forward to it. They want you to see the truth. They want you to see what you're doing, and who you are going to meet up with. And yeah, Heidi, you're having a lot of dreams lately. Yes, we're all getting lots of dreams, and I've never had. Let's put it this way: as far as I can remember, I couldn't believe I had 6 dreams in one night. 6 dreams in one night. I've never been able to count them before. I remember having a couple of dreams, and most of the time, many years ago, most of my dreams all to do with flying. Okay, as if I'm flying in the sky, as if I'm having a OBE, out of body experience, and flying in a house somewhere, or flying in the sky like Superman. That's what I felt like. I felt like I'm actually out of my body and flying anywhere across the world. I remember having that before many years ago. Now my dreams are so prevalent that, because I don't know, maybe because if you're the more knowledge you learn to carry, the more prevalent you learn new things. And so let's say this last few weeks, I've been having 5 or 6 dreams a day. And most of the time I would remember them or write them down and what they mean to me. And I'll get up at 2. I'll get up at, say, if I'm actually doing my crafts or whatever, I'm done about 5 or 6 in the morning. I go to bed, but a matter of a couple of hours, I'm waking up and I'm actually in my office and writing down the story or whatever it is I had to see. Then go back to bed, and a couple hours later, I'm back up again and writing something else down. These are all dreams. Now, not everybody will be dedicatingly getting up and writing them down. Now, does that make you feel very exhausted? Sometimes, but these are messages for you folks. It's not just for me; they're for you. And none of these dreams are all to do with bad stuff. See, these are dreams to prepare us for us to look forward to, and just to let us know that we're, yes, we can be living in an illusion, but we're not to be worried about what's going on. And if you worry about what's going to happen next in life, then you're going to drive yourself freaking nuts. And I tell people, don't lose focus of who you are and where you're going. Enjoy life. Enjoy it every day, because God brought you in this world to have a path that you take. Now, you're going to see a lot of people out there. They do TikToks and they're doing scriptures every day. They'll do scripture after scripture after scripture. Oh, God said this, and you evil this, and so that, and so this, and so that, and they're going to wipe the world clean, and no more people living, blah blah blah. And I go like, okay, they're taking quotations out of the Bible. No disrespect for the people they're doing, but I will say this: I'm not against the Bible, because I got my own Bible, personal Bible here. But what I ask God regarding the Bible, and He says, those are stories showing you what you can do for yourself or others to prepare you. He's not preparing you to die. He's showing you what to see, and when you make your own free will decision of life. Okay. Yes, Heidi, that's the very same show. It did creep people up back, and that was in the 80s, I believe, 1980s on TV. It scared a lot. They thought it was real. I mean, they literally thought that this is basically what's going on. Anyways, like I've said before, people believe that everything word for word of the Bible is exactly what's going to happen. The Bible is not meant to predict. The Bible is a story to show you what could happen if you follow the path of and I'm going to use the word righteousness. Righteousness means that if you follow the positive path that you take, the way you see it, you're never going to make a mistake. No one makes a mistake. If you chose a path to be a doctor, a lawyer, you want to be a store owner, you want to be a crafter, you want to be an entertainer, you want to be a broadcaster like I am, you want to be a narrator, you want to be a writer, or just a mother, a parent, grandparent, anything on there, anything you want to do, that's your decision. God wants you to be happy. He didn't bring you in this world to waste your time. You came in this world because you wanted to do something to fulfill a life and dream. Okay. And that's a good answer right there, Teresa. Yes, a personal experience. This is up to you. This is yours. Yeah, right. And that's true, Keith. That's absolutely right. You can do and be anything you want to do. If you want to be that, you will be. Okay. If you got set goals, you'll make it. Now, thing is that you have a choice. We all have a choice in life to learn. Again, there's one word there, life lessons. That's what it really is about. It's not about being fearful of what's going to happen next. I mean, my God, if my mother used to say to me, I told my mom one time, I saw this guy walking down the street with a placard front and back, this board, and it says, repent, Jesus, go to G, or pray for Jesus, praise with Jesus, repent. End of the world, repent. And I would see this front and back. And I told my mom about this when I was a kid. My mother said to me, she says, when she was a little girl, she saw the very same walking placard, repent, Jesus, blah, 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 world's going to come to an end. That, what it really was, they put fear in people. Okay. And that person runs around to be placed there to put fear in people, whether you just make a decision whether you want to change your life and do better, or that, that man who walked around with that placard, was he a happy person? No, he wasn't happy. Was he possibly, maybe he had a drug issue, or maybe he had, well, back then those years, alcohol. Would he drink a lot? They drink a lot. And you go to AA, and then a lot of guys went to AAs to carry those placards all the time. Sometimes people go to church and they thought, okay, God's going to save you if you walk with this placard on your body, and Jesus is going to save you. It's your prerogative to carry that placard, but you can carry your own invisible placard. Whatever you choose in life is your choice. When God asked me if I wanted to stay when I was a kid, you want to stay or you want to go? I don't have to be here anymore. He could have come and taken me. I would have left. I could have left, but yet I did not want to leave my parents behind, because my parent lost one son already, and that would have messed up my family, because all that'd be left is a sister. My mother would, like her daughter. Would my mother be happy? No, she'd be more miserable. that farm never would have been together. There would be no farm. My mom would actually go into depression. They'd separate, and then it's all gone, right? So I knew then that it was my choice to stay on the farm. It was my choice to live longer. It's my choice to do my job. And I followed it. Okay. And this is why I'm still here. Okay. Keith says, my wife's 75th birthday on the 25th. Ah, yay. Good for you. Happy birthday. Tell your wife happy birthday. Okay. Happy born day. Happy born day. Romans. Okay. Tina says Romans made the Bible to control people. Yes, they did. And they're the ones that call people Christians. Christians. Okay. Linda, nice to see you in the chat room. And Merry Christmas to you. Back to you, Badlands. Yeah, so there's Montana. Did you say Montana? Up in Montana. Hey. Yeah, so the thing is that we have a lot of things to fulfill, guys. And every one of us, and I got to tell people this, every one of us has a path to take. White Bear, a friend of mine, he's from the spirit, but he told me one time, he says, you got 3 paths in life. You have your long path, your short path, and your own path. What path would you choose? I've had people give me different answers. And the thing is that I choose my own path. And the reason why I do, because it's no one tells me how to walk it. I have to make my own decisions. I years ago, and I had people make decisions for me because I thought this is what they wanted me to do. And I had to learn differently. I had to stop worrying about other things, other people all the time, and start focusing on me. That's what I've been doing these last 20 years. Here, I've been working in the community, in the Indigenous community, for over 20 years, and I forgot about me. And Spirit came to me in a dream, and they said to me, Derek, it's time for you now to take care of you. You've done everything you can to help the communities. He says, now you need to take care of you. You're not being selfish. You need now to take care of you, because this is what we need you for. That's why we had you stay here longer. So I said, okay, so now what my job is continuation of this work, but I'm also out there more often as a speaker. I'm out there more often in a variety of communities, not just one group. So I'm all over the world. I get to talk about anything and everything that I've gone through in all my life experiences. And I'm happy. I'm absolutely happy. So, and I wasn't miserable before. I was just going like, hey, you know what? It was time for me to make some change, and I'm doing fine. I don't hate nobody. I love people. I love everybody in all communities, and I like working with people all the time. And like I said before at the beginning of the program, when I was on this page, these wonderful ladies invited me to come to their page, and I was interviewed for about 4 hours, and there was like 400 and 500 some odd people that was in the page members, and I was one of the most fun times I ever had in a long time being interviewed. But everybody wanted to know what I did and what was looking forward to, what to expect in the future, and everybody had an opportunity to ask me questions. And it wasn't just me talking by myself. I mean, people were asking questions, and Derek, what do you think of this? And what are your thoughts that? And it was wonderful. I had a great time, and I'm looking forward to doing this all the time. Merry Christmas to you, Heidi, as well. And I will say Merry Christmas because it is, folks. When that's something else. Thank you for bringing that subject up. People always say Happy Holidays or Happy what is and Happy that. Why are they afraid of Christmas? It is a Christ Mass. Basically Christ Mass means the people of Christ and the mass of people gather together come together as family. Now, what I want to do is I want to, I've done so much research on this. They've made such a crazy thing about Santa. Okay, for example, let's look at Santa Claus, for example. There are people out there labeling Santa Claus that represents Satan Claus. Like, well, the letters got changed around Satan Claus, because he's wearing red. It makes a difference. And the thing is that there's history that became nomadic from the past, that he was part of um, a tribe back then, that he never wore red. No, he may have wore a darker, more of a maroon color kind of long coat. He was more like a Russian European person. And that's how he was. That's how the stories started in their own countries, in Europe. And he was called Saint Nicholas, and or every other name you could think of. Almost every country, even the Vikings, had a name named after him, and they celebrated him in the 11th century. Okay, 11th century. There was no Freemasons there. There was no devil worshiping at the time. Okay, um, and yet there's all kinds of tribes, people of other locations of parts of the world celebrated something, someone who was they celebrated the earth, they celebrated the time of change, the weathers, the seasons, and also they also always talked about the children. It was not about human trafficking. It wasn't about, oh, we're going to sacrifice a child because of Santa. No, they never did that. But there's always going to be somebody coming up and saying, oh no, he's Santa was evil. Really? Okay. Well, the reindeer the reindeer represented this. Well, number one, folks, what I read in my own history back in the 14th century, there was a similar type of deer pulling on a sleigh, and there was a man who actually was going from house to house, and he was greeting people, and he would choose, they pick and choose if the childs are good or bad. And people were very poor back then, and they actually got a lump of coal, and they got a lump of coal as in need to warm up the house because they were very poor, or a child would receive a wooden toy. And this man here did a lot of carvings, and he would give them away as gifts. It was ongoing in different parts of the world. I've heard these stories from many elders that was passed down from their generation and their families, different parts of the world. And yet you don't see that in books, not here, because the internet can corruptly change everything. Now, there's one guy on right now who I actually just finished watching, and he talks about Christ Mass, which is actually the Christ Mass is in here, the Peniel. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. I love it. Because he was saying, he was going dashing through the snow, and he goes like, Merry Christmas, and he's saying all that. And in the meantime, the body gets really built up, and we start feeling very joyous. Why were we feeling joyous when you start hearing songs of Merry Christmas? Why do we feel really good? I mean, one of my favorite songs is White Christmas, Bing Crosby. Now, that is a very powerful song. His voice is very deep. It's out there. Everybody thought, okay, Elvis Presley was singing Blue Christmas. No, Bing Crosby. Because Bing Crosby's voice give you a grounding feeling that I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the one I used to know. And he gives you the details of how the children, like they're telling the story and the gathering of people. And that song was sung in not the movie called White Christmas, it was before that. There was another one that he actually sang the song in. And then later on, it became the secondary song. They repeated again with Danny Kaye. But before that was in another movie. He actually played a playwright. And he wrote the song in this other previous movie before that. So, yeah. And Bing Crosby did a duel with David Bowie, who is still alive, by the way, David Bowie. And that was a different kind of song. Yeah. So, I mean, David Bowie was when he sang that song with Bing Crosby, David Bowie wasn't the rocker. David Bowie was the person. He was a guy. He was, and Bells and Bobtail's Ring. Yeah, that one too is Jingle Bells. Now, some people believe that the word Jingle Bells means that slavery. Well, we don't know that. That's what someone says. Okay, they're making up that story. Always Lame is actually the songs about slavery. That they have a guy, they would put bells on the black guy, and then they would say, "Jingle bells, jingle all the way." Oh, what fun! Oh, what fun it is when on a one horse open sleigh. No, I didn't feel it. But they're going to make it where it's all to do with the negative. Here's my feeling on this. Pardon me. Every song that we sing, I remember when I was a kid growing up in schools, and we would actually have our classes. All the kids were giving the sheets, song sheets in school, and I was a little tiker, and we had to learn the songs. We had to sing the songs and of some of the music. I've never seen so many people gather and parents sing. When I was in the choir, when we sang Christmas songs, there was over 700 people came into this big, huge gym, big building. The parents, relatives of all sorts gathered to come and see their kids, grandkids sing. Packed, absolutely packed. Then after the concert, then they would take all the chairs away and bring in tables, and then everybody would eat. And it was a huge smorg. I mean, it was huge. Kids on one side, parents in the other, or families in the other. It was packed full house. But in the meantime, everybody had a great time. Okay, and this is not just white folks. This was a variety of every race. Okay, there were some people that I met. A young black kid. His name was Derek as well. I remember him and his mom, and he was there. We got along, him and I. There was Métis kids there, First Nations kids there. There's a variety of all kids. I mean, there's all families. It was a mixture of all types of families. Asian, Chinese, Japanese. Oh my God, there was quite a few. Not Filipinos. They weren't there at the time, but just the typical families. We all got along with each other. There was no problems at all. No racial issues. No racial tension. The whole place was fantastic. People had a great time. And it was the most fun ever in my life. And then at the end of the night, they would have a Santa Claus come on stage, and the Santa Claus would come out on stage, and there's about 200 kids, and the Santa Claus would pull out a name, like there was a couple of trees on the stage full of presents, and there was a couple of the people dressed up as elves, and the Santa Claus was there, and he call out the name of the child, and you come up on stage and get your present. So they were giving presents out to every kid all through the night. And the whole thing didn't finish until 10 or 11 o'clock. And it started around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 12 or 11, 12. Yeah, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was an all day, all night event. And not one kid got hurt. No, there's no jealousy. They all had a great time. Yeah. And the parents were happy. And everybody kept on saying, we should do this again. Now, these schools, it was the schools that put this together. Schools. Today, they don't do that anymore. You're not allowed to say Merry Christmas to schools. You're not supposed to even have a tree in school. You're not supposed to say Merry Christmas. You're not supposed to talk about Santa Claus. You're not supposed to talk about Christmas period, or you may offend somebody. It's here in BC. Okay, they refuse. They will not allow any child to even speak of the word Christmas. Oh, are you gonna? We're gonna have Christmas. My mom. No, we don't hear that. You're gonna offend somebody. These are teachers telling the kids you cannot say Merry Christmas. You cannot say anything. You can't dress up. You can't look like Christmas because you're gonna offend somebody. This is happening right now. Okay, I'm telling you guys. Like, I remember my childhood. I was happy. Let's get these kids to joyously enjoy their lives too. And if they're having this kind of problem in these schools, take them out of the school, educate them other ways. Don't leave them kids in the school, because these teachers here are ruining their life and their history. Okay? They're going to ruin their memories of their childhood. They're going to screw it up. The teachers are going to screw it up. Because that child, when he or she grows up, they're going to say, "Oh, I remember when we weren't allowed to even say those words." And if we did, then if I said Merry Christmas, then they would scold me and give me, and they lock me in a room, or they would tell me I had to go home and not come back, or I'd be kicked out of school because I said Merry Christmas. Okay. Teresa says the government does not wants us to not use those words. Go shopping. Everyone says Merry Christmas. I know. It's right. You're right. I tell people Merry Christmas. I will not say, I do say Merry Ho Ho. I have fun with it. Merry Ho Ho. If anybody says to me Happy Holidays, no, not Happy Holidays. Merry Christmas. Oh, I can't say that. Yes, you can. Well, I'm not religious. I couldn't care less. Merry Christmas. Right? See, people are getting brainwashed. They don't want you to celebrate a happiness of joyous of time. Sure, it's once a year. Kids, you know what? I'll tell you this. Kids celebrate Halloween more than Christmas. Kids dress up for Halloween more than Christmas. Kids don't really do too much at Christmas, but they rather spend more time at Halloween, and they're decorating their front lawns on Halloween more than Christmas. Why? Because they may not realize Halloween actually is All Hallows Eve. That's actually, if you really want to get really technical, Halloween is basically is called the night of the witching hour. The witches come out and they do their thing. Okay, and not all witches are perfect. Not all witches are true. Not always white light. Some witches are dark. So, again, think differently. Would you rather celebrate Halloween, witchcraft, or would you celebrate Christmas and the Christ? Or, like I said, there's witchcraft that's good, witchcraft is bad. Christ is light, Christ is never dark. I've had someone say to me, "Oh, Jesus actually was not real. Jesus actually was part of Satan." Give me a break. See, now they're trying to change the words out. They're trying to change things out. I met Jesus twice in my life when I was a kid growing up. Not going to change me. And I was not a kid that went to church. He just came to see me and talk to me. He didn't drive in the driveway and say, "Hey, Derek, how you doing? I'm Jesus." He was in my garden. There's no way in the field. This is our home, our family garden on the farm, too far away from town. I'm actually in my garden, hoeing the potatoes. This beautiful, beautiful yellow beam of light comes down in front of me. Boom, there he was, right there, appeared before me in our garden. Don't tell me if you think I'm crazy, I wasn't. I'm a kid. I'm not a dumb kid. I was 16 years old. I took care of a whole farm by myself for about 2 weeks while my parents were on vacation. So that's not insane. That's sane. That's basically, I was more sane than most people. I worked very hard to be where I am today. So the thing is, there are good kids out there. We need to teach the kids to learn about survival. And also, too, please, 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 teach your kids how to write and learn how to read a clock. Oh my God. I asked a young kid the other day at the Christmas craft event. I said, "You know what time it is?" Because I forgot my cell phone in my hand. "Well, I don't know." There was a phone. There was actually a clock on the wall. I said, "Oh, there's a clock over there. What time is it?" "Well, I don't know." "The clock's on the wall. What time is it?" And it was not a digital clock. It was a clock with the hands on them, right? He did not even know how to read a clock. I'm not kidding you. The kid didn't even know how to read a clock. I got, "Guys," and I said, "Where's your mom?" "Over there." So I walked up to his mom. I said, "Do me a favor, please. He's a wonderful boy. Teach your kid how to read a clock." "He doesn't even know how to read a clock." "What?" I said, "He can read a clock." I said, "No, he can't." "Yeah, he can read the clock." And he's got his, no, not digital, real clock. The numbers on the clock, he doesn't even know how to read it. She was teaching him there at the Christmas craft fair. He goes, I don't know, Mom. Nobody taught me. We're not showing this in school. And he doesn't even know how to write. Like, he has no idea how to write correctly. He doesn't even know how to sign his name. The guy was chicken scratching. I said, can you sign your name for me on a piece of paper? Just sign your name. And really tiny, just a little mark. That's it. Nothing more. I said, teach him calligraphy. Teach him how to write. My God. Do you know how to write? Yes. Well, then do it. Teach him. This kid has no idea what to do. When he's on his own, like, you can't depend on this little machine in your hand, guys. Start freaking doing survival. You need to, how are you going to do say you got caught on an island somewhere. How are you going to do your SOS? Pull out your cell phone. Here, I'll just do this, for example. You pull out your cell phone. SOS. Can you see me? SOS. Can you see me? Oh, I don't know what an S and an OS looks like, so I don't know. I can't write it in the sand. SOS, can you see me? I'm stranded on an island. Can you see me? And my cell phone's here. Think about it, guys. Okay, Linda says, I always thought happy holidays was including New Year and Christmas in one. No, it's not. They made it a rule, not a law, a rule. Reason why we weren't supposed to say Merry Christmas. Happy holidays did not mean Christmas and New Year's. Happy holidays means you weren't allowed to say Merry Christmas. That's what it meant. You weren't allowed to say it because you may offend someone. You may offend a Muslim or offend a Jewish person or offend somebody else. Like, so what? You come to my country. You're not going to change me. You're not going to come to you don't come to my country and tell me I can't say these words because you moved here. No way. But the government's favoring you because you make them money. And you do. Because you're earning lesser money than I am, so they'll favor you. That's how it works. Heidi says, I believe you. I was telepathically communicating to the bright light beings and when I was a kid too. Yes. I'm telling you guys out there, we all get messages from God. By all means, trust your guidance, believe in yourself, teach your kids. Even if the kids you don't know, if they don't know how to write, show them. Find somebody who can show them how. Read, and please learn how to read a clock and learn how. And the real telephones, guys, show them how to dial a phone. The young ones, they have no idea what a telephone is. They think this is the telephone, but they don't call it telephone. They call it a cell phone. If you tell them, okay, can you answer the telephone? Where? What's the telephone? That one. No, that's a cell phone. Telephone. Buy one, guys. Use it as the display or an ornament in your house and teach them. Put them on your table. There's a whole bunch of them up there for sale. Cheap, dirt cheap. Collect one. Put one on your house as a display, like an ornament. And teach the kids. Teach the grandkids. Teach people who are coming in the house. Do you remember when? Watch them what they do. These kids have no idea how to use a telephone. Not once. It's I'm laughing my freaking ass off when I'm watching this one video and the kid would pick up the receiver. He would not pick up the receiver. He would dial it, pick up the receiver, and then he's waiting for it to call. No. Then he would then there's another telephone that has the digital buttons, right? He would push the buttons and pick up the telephone as if someone's going to answer it. So we're watching them. We're not showing what to do, but see what he does. This is funny as heck. So we need to teach the kids. The new generation has no idea. None. They have been spoiled. And here's another spoiling problem, folks. Our children, the grandkids today now, are shoved this into their hands to play with it. Okay. Video games are in their hands all the time. When we were kids, we didn't have video games playing in our hands. What happened to getting the kid to look around and see what is in her surroundings? When this is in their hands, they have no idea what's in their surroundings when you're pushing them around in the cart or taking them somewhere. Okay. When they go shopping, this is in their hands all the time. I don't see a kid going around like, oh, what's this? What's that? Mom, what's this? What's that? No, this is in their hands. And they're focusing on this little game, chasing a little minion. And mom's doing her shopping, and out the door they go and say, what did you see? Did you see anything you always wanted? What? I was watching this. That's exactly what happens, is how you raise your kids. And you guys go to restaurants. Okay. And here's more piece of advice. You don't take the family to a restaurant and all 4, 5, 6 of you will actually sit there and use your cell phones. You're talking back and forth. Put your phones away. Start communicating with your voices, because that's exactly what society wants you to do. Never to communicate with each other. Never seen so many walking zombies everywhere. It's crazy. Communicate. Heidi says, yes, there are too many kids that can't tell time when they look at an old-fashioned clock. Yes, and they do not know how to operate an old-fashioned telephone, and a lot of them don't know how to and they don't. Let's see here. To cook yes, and teach them to cook too. Oh my God. Get them in the kitchen, making things with you. They want to. Here's the thing. When I was a kid, my mother always would sing when she was doing dishes. She would sing cooking, and she would just sing. My mother would just sing a song, and she would sing, and I was always attracted to her singing. My mother had a beautiful voice, and I would stand up next to her, and mom's singing, she's cooking away, and she's singing, she's mixing the food. And I said to my mom, I was like 12 years old. I said to my mom, I says, what are you cooking, Mom? Oh, I'm making this. And then, what are the ingredients? So she's showing me the ingredients, right? And then she's stirring it. Says, can I help? She said, sure, here, you stir it. Meantime, here, now she's got me stirring it. Okay. When a child wants to help, don't stop them. Stir. Okay. So now they're showing you. In the meantime, she's taking her ingredients and she's putting it in. Oh, okay, that's how you do this. So now she's showing me how to, right, what to put in. So you're learning how to cook by watching your parent put it in while you're stirring. Keep it stirring, you don't want it to burn. So now you're stirring up something in here. Okay. So you're learning as you're watching. So now the next time, as Mom says, well, maybe next time when I cook the same kind of meal, I'll show you how, and you can do the ingredients, and I'll stir it for you. So meantime, my mom's stirring while I'm doing the ingredients. The next time around, I start learning how to cook. So I start making things my mother taught me, and my grandmother taught me. I got so interested in cooking that I started buying cookbooks. And my mom gave me a cookbook. She went shopping, got me a cookbook. And I made my first chicken cacciatore when I was 14 years old. I made the whole meal. I took it to school. Okay, well, no, don't. Actually, I made it in the school. We did home economics. And in a home economics class, and they don't have it anymore, I'm sure, but you learn how to cook, or you learn how to do pickled something, pickled carrots, pickled whatever have you, and you make your ingredients to do it. But when they did cooking class, I was the only boy in my class, and mostly girls in the class. It was about 3 or 4 boys. I was the only boy in the class that knew how to cook. And these are farm girls. Sometimes small town girls. The rest of them are girls that are living on the farm, but also they don't cook. They're just whatever. I'm not sure what they do on the farm, but anyways, they said, okay, what kind of? Then the teachers say, okay, I want you to make a meal. I'll give you, what recipe do you want to cook and make a meal? I said, well, I'll make chicken cacciatore. Well, that's a really tough meal. I said, no, it's not, because I knew how to make it. So I made the chicken cacciatore in class, and the whole class ate the meal. They loved it. So I knew then, here at 16 years old, that I knew what my career, when I left school, I was going to learn how to have my own restaurant for a while. And I did. I bought myself a restaurant when I was 19. And I had my restaurant for a couple of years. And my dad got interested and wanted to be part of it. So he joined me. And my father was a heck of a cook. So it was my dad, my mom, myself, my mom. So it was the 3 of us. And so we ended up having this restaurant called the Highway Cafe. It was up in Alberta back in the 70s. And then later on in time, I thought, okay, I want to move on, do something different. So I gave my dad the restaurant. I said, Dad, this is yours. You can have full. It's all yours. We're no longer partners. I want you to have it. So my father became famous for his food. Meantime, what I learned from it helped me with my future because now I knew how to cook. So when I was married to my first wife, yes, guys, I was married before. I married my first wife. She didn't even know how to cook. So guess who cooked? Me. Married my second wife. Didn't know how to cook. Guess who cooked? Me. Married my third wife. My third wife knew how to cook. I went, finally. So now each of us, both her and I, share meals. I'll do one meal, she does another meal. So we always go back and forth. We both are killer cookers. So the thing is that you learn you get your kids involved, teach them how to be survivors, teach them how to cook, get them to get back into, even make them, even baking. We'll get the kids into baking, start off baking, small cakes, hot milk cake is first one beginning. Get the kids to do hot milk cake. It's a simple one to do, baking it, and then do what you want to do with it, and then start doing chocolate cakes, and then whatever you have, your cookies. They will start to getting involved more and more to make their own meals. The more they're interested in cooking, this is how they can survive. They don't have to worry about getting into craft dinners all the time because every kid grew up craft dinners, I'm sure. And a lot of them are expecting their parents to feed them. I actually know a guy right now, he's 42 years old and he's never cooked in his life and his mother's still feeding him. He lives downstairs in his house, never been married, and he comes upstairs and mother feeds him. He's a smart tech, computer tech, but he's not interested in relationships, but his mother, she feeds him. I thought to myself, one day when she dies, who's going to feed him? And he said, well, I'll just go to restaurants. That's how lazy this guy was. Now, why didn't I ask him, well, how come you never learned how to cook? Because he didn't want to. So his mom didn't encourage him. He just said, Mom, you're cooking for me because I'm your son. He lost his dad, but his mom cooks for him and she caters to him. And so I thought, okay, fine. Maybe that's what she keeps her going is living is because her son's still there. But that's how things are. Linda says, my grandmother and I have been making cookies, especially Christmas cookies. Yes. She was, since I was 2 or 3 years old, she loves it. And now she is my assistant baker and can do it all and learning to read recipes now. Good for you. Jim Davis says, I started cooking when I was 7 to my brothers and sisters when I left home at 14, became a certified chef and always cook now. Good for you, Jim. Good for you, my man. Yeah. My sister became a certified chef. She actually she's a sous chef. All of us are cooks. My dad became famous for a second. What happened was after I left the restaurant, because it was a home cooked meals, my dad was going to make one of the best meals ever. His burgers were killer burgers. They would do pierogies, they would do cabbage rolls, like some of the Ukrainian Polish foods. And then my mother would make killer bannock. Oh my gosh, she was good at making bannock. All kinds of foods. People loved it. Truckers loved it coming in the restaurant all the time. Then another town next to the town that where we were living, came and visit, I guess, and they loved my dad's cooking. And asked my father if he can actually spare one night and run a small cafe or small restaurant in the curling rink and feed the people there. So my dad would, one day a week, he would go down there, open up the restaurant, and he would do burgers and hot dogs from scratch and sell those. And he made the best burgers there. So he's making everything in the curling rink and the hockey rink. He was the busiest guy there. It was like everybody loved him. So my father became really famous as a cook. He was really good at it. And then he became so famous, mom and dad became so famous at cooking, that a company called Montgomery, which is actually part of a oil rig, they called them up or came over and they loved my parents' food. And they asked my mom and dad if they considered rigs as camp chefs, camp cooks. And Dad says, well, what's, he want to make sure that he got paid really well if he does go up there, because you're up there for a month and then you're back out for a couple of weeks and you're back in again. So my mom went with my dad, and then my sister came up with them after, but they got paid very, very well up and working on the oil rigs and as camp cooks. And my mom and dad was making home cooked meals, so they became very famous. This is up in Alberta. My channels always were called the same as the book in progress. Be the whole cookie, not a crumb. I love it. But I should have started on in the line of bakery, but they deleted my cookies. What a joke. Good joke. Oh, they deleted my cookies. Good, Jim Davison. I love your joke. Okay, let's see. Travis. He says, I worked hard these past few months, and the great to have gifts and with gifts for the kids. Hey, Travis, how you doing, my friend? My brother and sister's kids. So yeah, I'm glad all you guys are in the chat room right now. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of kids don't know how to survive, Heidi, and even some of the adults have no idea how to survive. Even right now, for example, if we had, this is give you guys a bit of a heads up. Say if we did knowingly, we're going to have one more lockdown. But I tell people this: you got to learn how to, have plenty of foods available, stored away for yourself. And so I always tell people this: if you can actually create preserves, may start doing preserves for a while and shelve those, is benefit for you. You guys may not know this. Many years ago, back in the early days, back in the 1940s, it was illegal to keep extra foods in your house. If the government found out that you had been hiding your food, they would arrest you and take you to jail. There was a law back then. You were not allowed to hide food. So a lot of people used to have secret rooms made. You would cook. You were not allowed to have you're only allowed to have X amount of sugar and X amount of flour. And this happened in the First World War as well. And in England, it was really bad back then. They would actually have the food police officers. They come in your house and ransack your house and see if there's any food. And so they didn't have dogs to find the food. And so people used to build secret rooms in their closets. That's how rooms began. That's how they had secret food rooms. They weren't to hide people at the time. You would have secret walls in the closets, and those secret walls were to hide your food. So then, because back then it was hard, it was illegal to hide your food away, because they don't want people to be self-sufficient, because the government wants you to run to them to make you believe that you can't survive without them. That's why they made it illegal to have extra foods in your home. So, yeah, it's true. So the government is getting us used to idea of shit flying around. Yeah, I know. But you'll find out more about these machines. Like I said before, when I said earlier, guys, there was a video. These two farmers were being attacked by one of the drones, and the guy brought out a shot. He ran to his truck, the back of his truck, and pulled out his shotgun and loaded it and shot the drone down with a shotgun. And I guess the drone wouldn't go down, so the guy loaded his rifle. This is the true story. He loaded his rifle, then he threw the rifle at the drone and shot and it blew up. For some reason, the shotgun shells and the rifle broke, or somehow got caught in the pedals, and exploded and blew up the drone. The drone crashed. But it was actually the drone. The drone was attacking the two men in the field. For some reason, whatever the men were in the field, and the drone, I guess I don't know why the drone was actually attacking the two men, but they got pissed right off because that was their land. And that's what I'm telling people. This is what they're doing. They're trying to see if they can intimidate people by using drones. And these drones are the size of cars. Some are even bigger. So this is getting to be crap, you know, and they're all over the world. So that's why I mentioned about this in front of this for show. Anyways, guys, I do really appreciate you all, and I hope you guys have a great Christmas and gather together in prayer and thanks. Um, the food's coming out, and I'm sure some of you guys will be celebrating either turkey, ham, or I'm gonna have steak. I'm having beef. Oh, I've never. I can tell you this, guys. My wife went out. My wife and I went out and bought 3 steaks, 3 T-bone steaks, but this time it's actually they're boneless. We paid, no word of a lie, we paid $78 for 3 T-bone steaks. $78 in Costco for 3 T-bone steaks. $78 for 3 T-bones. Is it 78 or 87? 87. $87 for 3 T-bones. It's a lot of freaking money. That's like $30 a T-bone steak. Nuts, right? Now, why did I pay the money for it? Because I want a steak. Okay. And I didn't feel like having turkey. I want a steak and I don't care. And I could afford it. So I went and bought the steak. And I said, well, you know, if you go to a restaurant, you pay $30 for a meal. Right? So that's how it works. Tina says, night. And okay, Teresa says, Merry Christmas, Derek. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. You too, Heidi. Merry Christmas to all you guys. Also, let's see what else is coming up. This next time I'm coming back on, it'll be Boxing Day, 26th. Remember I told you guys before, when I was interviewed on another page on Telegram. Now, if you ever want to see the whole show, what I'm talking about this evening, I'll be up on Rumble. I'll have this whole show recorded, be going up on Rumble, and then I'll be transferring over to Telegram as well, back on my screen. If you haven't seen the whole thing, also the people who I was interviewed by, I was on their page for about 4 hours. They invited me on to be interviewed. Had a great time with it. And their page is called Together We Build. Go on Telegram and find the page called Together We Build, and be worth your while to get to meet the people and find out what these are wonderful people to talk to, and you get to see these guys are, we always talk about positive things. It's wonderful to get to know people like them. I had a lot of fun doing it. Anyways, be good to each other, guys, and I hope you guys have a great Christmas. Gather together with families and enjoy yourselves. And if by some chance something happens before Christmas or during Christmas Day, then, celebrate it. Not to be afraid. Have fun. This is what life is all about. Look forward to each day waking up. Let's see here. Jim Davidson's come on mind sometimes, bro. Oh, Jim Davidson. Okay, I know your page, bro. Yeah, but send me an invite because I don't know when you're in. So I think I went to it once and you were not there. Nobody was there. So yeah, send me an invite when you're actually going live. So anyways, Linda and all you guys, Travis, Jim, Jesse, who else we got in the room there? Names. Cross it. Let's see here. Badlands, everybody in there. Yeah, thank you guys for being part of it. All those are on the Facebook chat room. Those are on the YouTube chat room. Thank you guys for being part of the program, and be good to each other. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a great Christmas, and love you guys.
Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is the war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live. peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright. Isn't it time, brother, stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. With one earth, with one need, we all we gotta learn to live together. Peace in peace, in peace. All right, peace, peace together. Peace.